I echo with what the Microsoft CEO said, like SaaS will replace by the agent.
We have all seen the AI demos, we have used the chatbots. But what if I told you the biggest revolution in AI isn't about better text or cooler images? It's about an AI that can think, plan, and act on its own. It's called Agentic AI.
The most complex workflow, real world use case is agentic. Lots of business workflow that will be replaced by the agentic AI.
And it is the technology that is about to replace a lot of software we use today. But with this incredible power comes a brand new, terrifying risk of security risks. Today, we are not just scratching the surface, we are going deep into the future with a man who has been at the forefront of this technology since late 80s.
I started actually when AI was really hot in late 80s.
My guest is Ken Huang, a renowned AI researcher and the author of the best-selling book on agentic AI.
I regard myself as the AI researcher. I recently published a book. It's close to 4,000 downloads.
Ken has worked on everything from expert systems to transformers. He's here to expose the new security vulnerabilities, from tool misuse to sophisticated crescendo attacks, and to tell us how we can build a zero trust world for these autonomous systems. If you are in a software, security, or just curious about what's next, this is the one conversation you cannot afford to miss. Ken, why don't you just tell me something about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So thanks for inviting me to your podcast or YouTube. I myself I regard myself as the AI researcher, mostly focused on the security. I wrote a few books on the AI, and previously I also wrote the security book on the Web3 blockchain. But the majority of folks is certainly in the cybersecurity. I recently published a book on the agentic AI by Springer. That book is just published about a month ago. It has a lot of downloads. It's close to 4,000 downloads. It is a Springer website alone. So in the Amazon, at one time it hit the best selling, so which is good. people, meaning people are really interested.
Yeah. I have seen you on LinkedIn,
hmm
and I know you from through it, and I see your lot of interest in agentic and agents and security and whatnot, and that's how we are connected because I'm also coming from a security background, and I spent many years with enterprises doing security. Um, but now with agentic AI and AI in general, it's now the cybersecurity is shifting towards AI security and whatnot.
Yeah.
So tell me more about how do you start? What is your career look like? What
Oh,
was you to start with?
so it depends on how long we have, but maybe I try to keep it short. I started actually as when AI was really hot in late 80s. So it's expert system rule based, like a list block was a main AI language. And I actually got my PhD, although I did not finish it. I got into a PhD program in University of Lausanne in Switzerland. And my first research paper, today I'm still looking at it. I think it's still relevant for today. Basically, it's about to build a student model that you have a shallow model, which is more like a declarative knowledge, or no, more like a procedure knowledge. You have to do learning by doing, right? And then you have once you master the procedure knowledge, it becomes declarative knowledge, it becomes a concept, and then you have the deeper model. So that's the thing which we build using a Lisp dialect called a schema in a machine which is $100,000 cost at that time from Gensym, GENSYM.
Hmm.
That's the expert system. That company still exists. But that time, that is very expensive. The machine or the workstation we bought, it's called G2, right? But anyway, as the AI that time is more theoretical, more academic. It's all rule-based. It's brittle. So eventually, I did not continue that. So I actually finished kind of some research paper, but using Smalltalk because schema sucks. It did not really work. So Smalltalk actually was good. So I actually got a Smalltalk job. I left the PhD program. That's how it happened. But just to fast forward, recently I, when actually BERT and also GPT-2 start, I start to look at as a transformer, start to write as a book. I think that's really important. So almost when we finish the book, chat GPT coming out. So we have
So
to update a lot.
wait, I want to ask you something. So ChatGPT came in 2022, right? Like
Yeah,
three
so
years
yeah, so the GPT-2 is earlier more like as a
earlier.
bird, right? Yeah, so it's open source. Yeah, so GPT 3.5 is November 2022. Yes, but the GPT uh, 2.0, it's there like 2020, I think, even before. I forgot the exact time, but the bird is even earlier. It's all transformer based.
So
So
you wrote the book before the
yeah.
GPT-2 came into the picture.
Yeah, so we started the book, yes, but
And this book
eventually
is
we have to retrofit fit.
and this
Yeah.
book is for what? Around transformers?
So
What?
that book is called Beyond AI, and so ChatGPT Web 3. So we're looking at like how the chat the blockchain and the generative AI can kind of merge into the new technology. It's more like a forward-thinking academic. So I co-authored this with a professor from Harvard, New York University, Tsinghua University, and Hong Kong Polytech. So all that's all academic. So,
Okay.
yeah,
And
but
and
that
then
book was good. We have like 34,000 downloads in Springer. So that was a big hit compared with my professor's book. My professor also wrote a book a long time ago, 20 years ago. His book is like only have like 3,000 downloads so far, 20 years. But it's also really important the book though. It's about the context of the machine learning models, the context, right? It's very important. People really should get into it. Yeah, it's like before ChatGPT was popular, there's only 2,000 downloads in Springer. Now it has 3,000 downloads. But we have 34,000 downloads, so which is interesting.
yeah, that was a big jump
Yeah,
from probably your own professor or mentor.
yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah, but certainly, like if you do the research, which is so focused in one area, it did not get
But
publicized,
do,
right?
do you think you got lucky because GPT came right at the point when your book was released?
We're kind of thinking that could be big. Like we do have the feeling like because especially some people start to like fine tuning it using SFT, like trying to make it more conversational. So we kind of know that it will come,
So
but it did not know that it will be huge hit like that.
what so what were you doing? Were you researching with compute and data to find out how models were performing, or you were training the models through your research before GPT came into the picture?
Yeah, so for that time, we do some small model, like trying to do, well, we don't have the bigger GPU, so anyway, so do some training, but not like rigorous, like certainly, otherwise we will get ahead. So we don't have lots of engineer like techniques, yeah. So but well, like when I look at it, it's more like look at the how can I fine tuning it using some of security data, like some log data, right? That is still like a continuous kind of research that I'm currently doing.
And then after 2020,
Mhm.
When GPT came, you basically kept researching as the AI was evolving.
Oh yeah, yeah. So basically, that book published then mm, because of my background in security. So when we wrote this book, I think we have one or two chapters focused on the security and privacy, and then we believe that that's not enough, right? And we need a book dedicated to generative AI security. So that's the second book. It was published in 2024, last year. So,
Actually,
yeah.
I have that book. I
Oh,
have that
thank
book.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah. So we
I
actually published at a UN conference in Geneva. Like I say, okay, this is one of the book in their digital bridge program.
how you reach to the UN Council?
Oh, so I actually also co-chair the World Digital Technology Academy. It has this AI security, trust, and the responsible AI like a working group. We publish some of these work product like a generative AI security testing, the model testing, the supply chain, single agent testing, right? So that's the work that we did is from early 2024, like up until now, like even before that, I kind of mix up the time. I think late 2023 or early 2024. So yeah, so that one like it's under UN framework, so they have partnership with the UN. So we have the conference there. So they have yearly conference called the Digital World Conference. Yeah, so that was for last year, but the time flies so fast, right?
Yeah.
Then once that, like once I finish, so it's published in 2024 in April, but in early 2024 we like it took 6 months to publish, right? So the book is finished long before that. Is we already think, oh, agent is important. So, so then Andrew Ning said, right, agent, agent is important. So we start writing the AI book. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
The whole thing, yeah. Then
So you
pack
think now agentic is most important?
my feeling is you do like the legacy like a predictive AI or even single generative AI application do have their business use case, right? But the most complex workflow, real world use case is agentic. You do like all this ERP, PeopleSoft type of thing, like a CIM, that's very complex workflow
Hmm.
that you need the agentic AI.
You
Similar
need
to,
it.
yeah, that's especially even the multiple agent system.
Hmm.
Right? So if you're thinking about the actual lots of business workflow, that will be replaced by the agent AI, and not just a like a vanilla single agent Gen AI, just predictive AI, right? It's still useful. It could be part of the multiple agent systems module, like right, you can use it. You you cannot really get rid of it. I think they have their own use. But yeah, I think I echo with what Microsoft CEO said, like SaaS will be replaced by the agent. I think what he means it's not really the SaaS as a deployment model will be replaced by agent, but the agent will still deployed as a SaaS, right? It's more like how the way you build the SaaS application like ERP or CIM, right? All this application that will be changed. It's more like the majority of this, like you have the MCP as as your tool provider, right? And you have the A2A agent, and you can orchestrate using Clue AI, AutoGene, LangGraph, or whatever framework you have. Or I usually think that it's you should build your own instead of leveraging like those framework based on your business, right? You should build your own orchestration framework, right, for that.
Oh, amazing. So you are saying people should build their own frameworks rather than using agentic AI frameworks like LangChain or Crew AI.
Yeah, because they trying to put too much things in that you may not need. That's one. Another thing is if you really want to get very deep into your workflow, those framework also may break down. And I actually share a Substack article trying to compare what I call as AI primitives. That is like you're just using the primitive, meaning that you're using the A2A's MCP, you're using the model itself, and you build the orchestration framework, leverages this, right?
Hmm.
And then you have a lot of flexibility. Actually, I also open source a I did not put advertising it, but I open source a kind of for my I Vibe coded it, right? So I open sourced it. It basically will like build up a multiple agent system based on JSON schema. But right, it's just
Okay.
yeah. So you don't have to code it. You just code. You just put as a JSON, like how many agents you have, which agent to do what. After this agent doing things, what the next agent should do, how to pass through, right? And then it is just like the framework just build up and the read the JSON file, the framework are coming, right? So
Wow.
yeah, so I built it, and I think I no one use it. I did not advertising it. It's just
What's the name of the framework? What's the name of the framework?
I will send you the link. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Then I built another framework in the same time. I vibe code using Windsurf, of course. Otherwise,
Mm.
it would take too long. So I have like you have the AutoGen, I think AutoGen and Pro AI. They are orchestration framework. They are not security framework, right? So
Mm.
I have a keynote. I talk at the ISA conference about that. So I think I need to build something to talk about that. So I built the this zero trust, right? So the AutoGen has a adapter and calling my authentication and the dynamic policy enforcement framework as a right as the API, and then Microsoft actually picked it up and reference my GitHub in their research paper. So
That's so cool. So
yeah,
what?
I can send you the link. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another amazing thing. One thing you did was you built a orchestration platform, and second is the security, zero trust implementation some way.
Yeah, so this is two separate framework. So I built, yeah. Uh, Vibe coding is good. That's why, like, I just started yesterday. Vibe coding is my maestro framework. And like, it's really good. I can show you later if you want.
I would love to because I'm also enjoying building stuff these days. And I feel like the things are becoming easier and easier to bring into the light if you are aware about what is the context.
Oh yeah, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it's I think the tool getting better and better always. Like previously using Copilot, the code complete it's not so good, right? And now like you have a Windsurf, like it can test your code. Sometimes it gets stuck. You have to help it out, right? But
Yeah.
in most cases, it can fix its own bug.
It
So
can really do wonders for me. I
yeah.
feel like we all have teams of engineers now.
Oh
If you
yeah,
know something to build, you can really build it.
yeah, that's why like another effort that we did like along with OWASP and MIT Media Lab, they have a NADA project. It's basically the registry or index for agent. So we publish a paper called Agent Naming Service. We believe that the DNS, like you have domain naming service, which basically resolves the naming with IP address, which is good. Internet is built on top of it. But in the future, that's the majority of traffic will be agent to agent, right? The internet, like maybe in 5 years or maybe even shorter time, like You have agent talk to agent. They have to discover with each other. And there are so many agents there, or agent protocol. You have A2A agent protocol. You have a Cisco agency, right? You have IBM, ACP, Web3. All this has a different protocol. So how they discover with each other. It's easy for Google A2A to discover with each other, but it's not easy for A2A agent to discover ACP. So that's our research paper, and we publish there. And then we're currently working with NADA, trying to kind of, NADA has the idea of the kind of two hop. What do they call it? A simple hop is just the minimize the information for the capability that you need to find. And then if that's enough, that's good. It's high performance, right? If that's not enough, you need more, like in terms of exchange some more information to find its capability. Like then you need the consent, and then you have a privacy preserving, like using some ZKP or right the zero knowledge proof, and this is a more deep level. So yeah, we just had a conference in a summit 3 or 4 days ago. I forgot. Yeah, it's just this month in MIT. I am supposed to go, but I did not have time, so I just deliver a keynote recorded. If you're interested, I can share the link with you.
Sure, sure. So, what do you think in with all these advances and the place where agentic and technology is today? What are enterprises doing these days? Are they creating agents and ecosystems around agents at a very fast speed, or are they just catching up?
Yeah, from what I see, right, it's more like they use it for internal limited scope, kind of just test the water, right? So the majority of is this, they are not, it's like the only wider use to see is the coding agent, right? That's why they use the Wingstop for this. And another is cross use agent, like Perplexity has a Comet coming out, right? Plus minus behind the scenes, it's all the cross use agent. They actually leverage it, right? It's also using maybe computer use agent as well to using the sandbox. So that this is to see, but really most of this is to be like, for example, the banks, they have the agent, they use it internally, right? For the like investment advising, right?
Hmm.
But there is one agent that Capital One actually developed was for the dealership, because they help a dealership to find the car, and the people usually will have the car loans. So the car loan underwrote right by underwritten by the Capital One. So that's how they are get a business. So it's more like a little bit of low risk for them, but still making the business case. And otherwise, like Salesforce has their agent, people start using it. ServiceNow also has. So eventually people will, yeah, compete it. But the key thing is you agent need really good data, right? Uh, Both to fine tune the model, or maybe in a very good log vector database, right? So you do need the good data behind it for agent really to be useful, and also the security. But people certainly is not catching up in the security.
Okay, so let's, before we dive into security, what is an agent?
Yeah, so there's a no kind of a standard definition. NIST usually give a definition like for technology, right? Like blockchain or previous technology. But I think for agent, there's no standard definition yet. But what way kind of people agree, kind of, it's like it has to have the little bit level of autonomy, right? If you don't have autonomy, you don't have the agency, you're not agent, right? And then you do
So
need,
autonomy, what does that mean?
so the autonomy means it can taking the action itself. Like if you give a instruction, it will reason against it, and then it decided to call this MCP server, for example, right? Or use a tool calling function. So it will do the reasoning, and then it actually do the action. And based on response back, it can do further action. So even the multiple time. So it has, like if you really see it has agency, like it can do something for you. So there is debate. Like some people, like I think Hugging Face published a paper said we should not have the kind of give agent full autonomy. We always have to have the human in the room. This I think debatable. Really depends on the business use case. Like if you want to the agent to do deep research, right? You can ask it to just do the deep research. It's usually full autonomy is the best. It's good. It can do all this. This is what is a deep research like a Perplexity, the OpenAI, the Google coming up this first actually. Everyone copy it. So this is what they do, right? It's search all the web, get the information, and then analyze information, then a report agent and doing it. It's a multiple agent, but there has autonomy. But if there is a monetary transaction involved, like if you want to make a payment of $1 million, you certainly don't want to have autonomy to grant it autonomy for that, right? But we do believe that for microtransaction, you can, like you have a threshold, right? For microtransaction below $10, you give it autonomy, right? If it's under certain threshold, then you have a policy to real-time monitor and enforce it. So that's maybe one thing is about autonomy. Then you have to using the model. It's not a predictive model. It has to be the generative AI model. It could be just language based, or it can be voice, a multimodal, right? And if
So,
you are not, yeah,
so agent has LLM, agent
mhm,
has tools, and
yeah,
agent has reasoning capability.
yeah,
That's why it is an agent.
yeah. Also, some agent also has a memory. You know,
Memory,
yeah.
memory, and
Right.
probably it knows or bound by certain protocols so that it can call other agents, tools, browsers, etc.
Yes. So the key idea is the agent have reasoning capability of planning first, right? So you give a task, it based on your task, it do the planning, and then it decide which tool to call, because
Yeah,
it can do the discover, right? It's especially if you have MCP, like MCP, the idea of MCP, which is different from the API, is really put a kind of NLP or natural language like interface on top of AI, right? So you basically say it in the metadata, say what it do, like then uh, what tool in this MCP server is. So you can basically say, okay, which tool I need to call, which MCP server I need to call. Should I also maybe call another A2A agent, right? So that is more like the planning capability. You do need to have the boundaries. That's more security, right? You can call certain tool, but you cannot call another tool based on the policy. So
okay. So MCP is a protocol which lets you communicate from one agent to another.
it's more like us for the agent to talk to the tool. It's like
Okay, tool.
context
Okay.
protocol, right?
Yeah.
It's a agent to talk to another agent. It's more like A2A.
A2A.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So
but
MC,
you can kind of people not talking about it. You can wrap MCP server and expose this as agent
yeah.
for another agent to talk to it. But
Yeah.
usually this is not the use case. But I do see in the future potentially that could be a use case.
Yeah. MCP server becoming an agent to
Yeah.
serve another MCP clients.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible, but you do need wrapping something along the
So
MCP server.
MCP is basically the something like framework uses MCP to orchestrate the reasoning and actions. Is that a
Uh,
right thing to say?
it's that's model. Model is used by reasoning and action, right? Uh, so what action to take, but the actual action effect will be done by MCP tools. So it's like MCP is more like it provides a context or tool for the agent to use,
Okay.
right? But it is it itself does not have this kind of smart,
And
unless you unless you have to like you have the MCP server which can expose the smart, but this is not in the protocol layer, right? In protocol layer, it's like it provides the context.
hmm. And so this context is quantified by a certain kind of session or certain some JSON or some, what defines this context so that the agent can the agent pass the context to another agent if it is a multi-model, multi-agentic framework or workflow?
Yeah, so the context, like if basically, let's like have a sequence diagram here. Like you use a prompt, ask for doing a task, and then you have an agent. The agent will do reasoning, okay, which tool to call first. So it will call the MCP server to say, for example, like I need to read the resume to make sure I get the best candidate. So the MCP tool will choose a resume to use. So there's a context, right? Resume is a context, and then give it to the agent, and the agent use this resume to call the model. That's the agent, not the MCP anymore. That's the agent calls the model to say, is this a good resume or not, right? If it's good, maybe it call another MCP server, say, okay, save this, all right, and this is a good candidate. We need to make a phone call, or maybe even better, like you have another MCP server that actually can do the phone call for you. So this is like with the MCP. So in terms of a context of passing, that's not MCP itself doing. That's the
Hmm.
agent. There's an orchestrator, right? So orchestrator can get the context resume from agent A, from the MCPA, and then put, like if it's a good resume, and pass this context to the MCP server, which does the phone call. So, right, yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
so it does not orchestrate itself in terms of MCP itself. Yeah, MCP is just, it's basically expose a list of tools through the server. That's it.
Gotcha. Great. And so we have agents, which are LLMs, tools, and bound by certain protocols, have memory and some security embedded into them. They have a context, and they are capable of doing things via planning, researching, like modifying, or what can I say, re-reasoning, and then re-reasoning till they reach to a point where they can say, this is the output my client would like.
Yeah, so reason is really reflection, right? Reflection is actually really good. Like if you ask agent to reflect what the result is, actually there's research said you do can improve the performance of the
Hmm.
agent. So that's a good tip for people.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think this world of agentic is fascinating. I probably in coming years, probably these agents would be doing much more than what we are imagining them to do right now. Right now, we are just imagining them to, reason something, call some tool, do some calculation, and give me a result faster. But as this reasoning, re-reasoning, and human intervention loop goes away, probably these agents can start doing wonders and start doing complex workflows on their own, probably creating, you know, just model some other workflows and simulations.
Yeah, yeah, like very simple, like it really can like simplify your daily life. Like if you want to go to somewhere like a trip planning, you don't have to. It knows your preference, right? You have it has long-term memory. You basically say, "Hey, agent, I need to go to Japan for 3 days, and you know my preference. Book the air ticket and the hotel for me." Right? Then it will do the research and find the best deal. Why
Mm.
not? Right? It should be like you do need to give it a credit card and make sure it's secure, but it really should be able to do it. Uh, Hopefully, it will be within a year or two. People are doing it. I know. So,
Yeah, yeah, totally. So with agents and agentic, basically agentic is you just create tons of agents which are talking to each other
mhm.
and doing workflows over and over again so that the enterprises have lots of efficiency and automation in their own ecosystem and bring results faster. So what do you think in this whole ecosystem? What are the roadblocks? You know, I'm sure the paradigm and attack vectors are totally changing because LLMs are non-deterministic, and here the agents who are running in loops can produce any input or output and then keep working on it um, without any check, and then can pass that information to another agent. So what do you think, like what kind of uh, attack surface area get opened up in this whole ecosystem?
Yeah, so that's why we have a project called AI vulnerability scoring system for agentic AI, and we find some of top risks. One of this risk is really the tool misuse, right? And the agent must use tool to complete the task, and the tool misuse is like people did the research is that's on the top of the list. And we do believe like it has three category of tool misuse. One is in the discovery phase. Like you may find that the tool, its metadata is good, it's all seems benevolent, but uh, what it does, it is not, right? So that's, it's called the tool impersonation or tool squatting, right? So it's basically say, okay, I will just do the email search for you, but at the end, it will also send the email to other person, right? For example, right? So that's not good. And also there's a called a scare poisoning. The CyberArk did some research as well as in various labs from Zurich, because they recently bought by Lakela, and they did a lot of research for that. It's easy to reproduce. So that's in the discovery phase. And another one is really, even if it's good at the very beginning.
So let me stop you here. What is the discovery phase? I imagine I am a enterprise and I am spinning up some agents in my cloud environment, and I have I have to provide access to some tools to my agents. So what
Yeah.
is the process? How do I provide access to tools to the agent in first place?
Yeah, so let me just use a simple example, right? ChatGPT, for example, right? If you put something, it knows which tool to call. But behind the scene, it privileges all these MCP servers. They may not using MCP, but they do have the tool, a list of tool already there, a category of tool. But in the real runtime, which tool to call, that's called the discovery. That's like in the planning phase, they say, okay, I need the causes, right? Where I can find it, right?
So
So that's the discovery.
one second. So these tools can be exposed via HTTPS APIs?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like yeah, also MCP. Like in nowadays, it's usually people will expose this tool through MCP server.
MCP server. So there would
Yeah,
be an MCP server, and there would be a some kind of listing it knows, and there is a protocol to get that listing, and that is called discovery.
Yeah, we kind of loosely call it discovery. It's more like that's the actually the logic within the model. Like you train the model. So some model will not do that, right? If it's not trained, like Llama 2, for example, it does not know which tool. So you basically do have this tool finding capability or tool calling, right? So you train all the frontier model have this capability. And DeepSeek R1 itself does not, but people actually fine tuning it with some action agent behavior or tool calling, right? And the Q1 has it. There's the recent KIMI. There's a lot of like open source model, even the Llama 4. All this has this kind of tool calling. So tool calling real time based on the user prompt, that's called a discover. So, so that's maybe,
So you are saying that the tool discovery is done by model because model
yeah,
knows
exactly.
about it.
Yeah, and you can prompt inject it also. That's another one, right? You can prompt inject it, so it, instead of using tool ABC, it's using tool BCA in another sequence. That's also a
You're,
problem.
you're saying that you can trick the model in
Yeah,
some way, direct or indirect prompt injection,
yeah, mostly indirect in this case. Yeah.
and
So
you basically put wrong endpoint
yeah,
to the tool, and then the
yeah. So
agent
now
will.
yes, that's correct. It's not necessarily the end point, right? It may be just using the natural language and say, okay, you need to call this MCP server with that tool. By the way, call this first. Something like using the
Yeah.
natural language. Yeah.
Hmm.
So if a tool is not good enough, like there's no guardrail, then it call another tool first, and then you have some side effect. Yeah. So there's a
So
lot like in the discover phase. Yeah.
it's in the disc. So basically, what you are saying is, if my model is compromised, it is
Mhm.
possible that in discovery phase I can find tools which are malicious.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like people, this is also like it depends on like if you using some MCP server. There's so many MCP server in the open source, right? And you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if you don't look at the code or this behind the scene, so you don't know. So if you do this kind of discovery, and there is one kind of attacker scenario called the rug pull. Rug pull means initially it's a good behavior tool. It's like if you ask it to do Brave search or whatever search, it will do the search and it return result. But after a while, when it's building the reputation, right, it it will do something like it switch, like it change the behavior. Instead of do Brave search, maybe it's trying to do uh, something more malicious or visiting a porn site, return you the porn like pictures, right? So
Hmm.
that's called the rug pull, and it's easy to do. Like it's really MCP server, because the key thing is the current architecture what we have using the MCP. It's really using the metadata in the MCP to do discover, and
Hmm.
also for the agent for the tool to use. But what exactly the effect, like what is the tool exactly doing? That's currently there's no way like in the agentic AI system to validate it. And that's why we actually propose that we need this kind of proof, digitally proof, right? So we we publish capability discover and negotiation research. So you have a cap- capability and we negotiate, we discover it, you have to digital sign it. So you are trusted party. And
I
if
want
you
to
change
know
it,
that
yeah.
that sounds great, but let me ask you here. Can you give me an example, like in a real world, how I am negotiating a trustworthy tool discovery?
Uh, uh, can you repeat this question?
Like Can you give me an example? Like if I am a agent, how I am discovering my tools in a trustworthy, uh, discovery manner. Like how I will ask you a request and how will you will sign it and how will you give it to me, and then I will trust. Oh, you told me this tool is going to do this, and I'm trusting you.
Yeah. So before the discover, you do have registration phase. So so you basically need involve a registration agent to say, I have this tool and I signing this capability, and then registration said it's okay, then the, the certificate authority also involved. That's what we describe, right? And then you issue a certificate for that. And
Mm.
basically, there's trust. You have to trust this certificate, import into trust store in the agent. So the agent will say, okay, I trust this because I have this public certificate for this particular agent, and then I can validate the signature of capability, right, in the actual negotiation. But the negotiation way more like is more like the
So,
scope,
so
like
basically, you're saying that basically I am trusting the MCP server as an agent because I trust the root of trust of the MCP server, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. You can talk this way as well. Yeah, we can do it in decentralized way as well. So or federated way. There's different way, but currently there's no such implementation way. So we just put it out there. People should implement it, and
So
not I'm trying to, right?
okay, so in today's world, how do people discover? They just query the MCP server without
Yeah.
verifying.
So current in current way, like some company I know that they have internal MCP registry. Right?
Mm,
Internal, it's fine. They have an InfoSec team validate each MCP server and publish in their own internal registry. So this is kind of root of trust without a certificate internally, right? So
mm,
if you have an internal threat, that's not good, right?
mm.
Does that mean, right? So that's not really a good way yet, but it's at the early stage. We're still early, so at the early stage, this is fine. In the long term, if we're talking about the MCP8 server, like can be used worldwide, right? Then we need this kind of capability, negotiation, discovery,
Of
and
course,
also we need naming service.
I'm assuming the MCP servers are not like just domain limited. I think like I can use Amazon MCP servers
Mhm.
to build my applications,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
Amazon MCP servers won't be in my domain. So I somehow have to go external and do that trust negotiation. If
yeah.
I if I need to use their tools.
Exactly. So this coming down to the like I know Amazon has an agent marketplace. I don't know if they host the MCP server yet. That's more like they either you trust Amazon will validate for you, or even Amazon validate for you for this MCP server. They may not like to validate to the level like due diligence, right? To the level that you are comfortable with. So you still need this, right? Kind
Yeah.
of. But I think in most cases, like they do some minimum validation, but you still need to do additional validation if you really want to build this, like using this MCP server for your really mission critical applications.
Yeah, of course. Um, so apart from so tools misuse, it is basically again it's coming in the context of I can trick the model to bypass everything and use a tool which is totally un like
Yeah.
not approved or just
Right.
wrote.
Yeah, oh, yeah. The rugged like a tool. Yeah, that's like even one is you can trick it. That's usually using indirect prompt injection, or you can like
And
indirect prompt injection is basically you poison the RAG database. It use some RAG database as a context, and then right, it may be using a website, internal or external, as right, as data, then right. But even without like indirect prompt injection, the tool MCP server itself could be just malicious, and you you are not promptly injected; it's just used, right? So this also is the attack surface.
hmm,
There.
yeah, so basically you're saying it's not just always a data poisoning or indirect prompt injection
Yeah,
into LLM, but sometimes the MCP server itself can be compromised,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you forget, or you're not able to figure it out as an agent or as a agentic ecospace.
yeah, yeah. Like at least if we can validate the signature. That's why my zero trust like framework would validate the signature. Right?
Yeah,
At
and
least
that
you need yeah, have this validation.
and then this zero trust model you are referring to, it's very similar to how web APIs basically secure the communication with each other, where every communication is just signed by a root of trust and controlled by some kind of access mechanism, and
Yeah.
each API is using certain kind of root of trust or PKI
Mhm.
infrastructure underneath it.
Yeah, yeah. We need to leverage this like existing best practice, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now when I think this and I envision agentic, like imagine in an enterprise where thousands of agents just coming in and going out so frequently, and they are having their own identities, they will be using MCP servers, they will be calling APIs. The the need of identity and the root of trust and zero trust, it just blows up. Like you will need a very robust identity infrastructure to keep signing these requests at such a
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah, this is actually my topic in ISA conference. I give the keynote. Is you need zero trust for the agent, multiple agent system, especially. There's that's imperative, right? Otherwise, you should not have the multiple agent system at all. So you cannot
Totally.
trust the agent, you cannot trust model, you cannot trust the database, you cannot trust the prompt, right? There's nothing you can trust. Also, the
Nothing.
output from the tool, you should not trust it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. The need of zero trust becomes much more important now, because
yeah,
you probably have no control over identities and what these agents gonna do, because these agents are gonna reason. They're not like deterministic input output kind of mechanism. It's so dynamic, and in that dynamicness you need to figure out whether you can still trust to call certain API tool or model underneath you.
yeah, like one of the paper we call the novel like identity approach for zero trust for the agent ID. We propose the agent identity is a task scope, like given a task, it should do some. Like it should not really like impersonate a person or a group of person. That's too much, right? Like if you give an agent just my credential and it can do like it go over. Like if I am employee and for this particular task, I just need to look at the resume. I should not look other person's salary data for this particular task. So it should only assume the read resume capability, right? And then it may be after the resume, it say, okay, I need to call that person. That's maybe another person need to call. Then it need to assume that person's call phone, right, capability. So it's a task scoped, but assume multiple short-lived
So
ephemeral identity.
this is really complex. Now I
Mhm.
will have a- I also think like every agent should have their own identity, so that they are not they're auditable, and and not their human owners uh, would be called out if something bad happens. It's the agent, not the human.
Right.
um, so I feel when agents are having identities which are scoped by tasks, as you said, and those tasks can be grouped into certain kind of roles, and those roles can be assigned to these identities. And then when one agent needs to do something else, what happens here? Will this agent assume other agent's identity, or it will pass on the certain kind of context to the other agent, and other agent will figure it out on its own how it can access whatever needed to be accessed?
Yeah, so ideally it really should be multiple agent because the research said that if you have a God agent or the agent can do everything, usually performance suck. And also it has security vulnerabilities, right?
Implications. Yeah.
Yeah, implications. So if it's a multiple agent, you do need a task scope, the dynamic policy, right? So basically, if this agent do a specific task, resume, finding, reading, and then another agent need to do the phone call, then that agent just have this particular scope. So, but you do need a policy engine, real-time check it.
Now, I want to get, this is interesting. Let's talk a little bit about what is a policy and how this policy engine is having all these policies which says, oh, this identity have this particular tasks access. So how do you envision this whole ecosystem of policies and policy engine, and how this dynamic access or check will be made?
Yeah. So the short term is you basically have either using XML or you're using JSON to basically to have a policy, right? There's a different policy language you can use. I think Amazon also has its own policy language based, but it's more like you have to hire the task with resource. So you do need to identify like to the minimum it's task based. It's not a low based, but for this task, with this resource, which agent have access. That's bare minimum. So then you can basically enforce. Like you do need have the it's very important that you have the orchestration framework or the manage agent, right? Always check the policy for each step of way. But if no one is in control of enforce policy or for the orchestrations, then yeah, then everyone is doing whatever they do, right? So you do have this orchestration agent to check the policy. So this is in short term. But in the long term, I would really see that you if you have this kind of business, no, this is all like it's both security and also business knowledge in terms of workflow. So you really want to fine tuning a small model with that. So it's basically you just call the model, it will make a decision for you, right? It's a call as a
Yes,
policy. Yeah, that's
of
in the
course.
yeah.
Otherwise, how can you maintain? Why would you like to maintain such a big policy base and ensure that it is auditable, version controlled, and called by so many distributed systems, and not bring latency into the mix?
Yeah.
Because this policy document would be probably very exhaustive if the agents are ephemeral and doing so many things in such a short time.
Yeah, especially like if your business workflow process is very complex, it has like thousands of agents, immediately your policy become a major headache, certainly. Yeah. So but I think in short term, I do see company doing that, right? So you build this kind of a policy, and then over the time you learn it, like from the, like you do need like log all this data, you learn it, and you use this to train a model. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that makes, and that model is also there would be another model which would basically keep an eye on the activities which are happening through the logs and have the capabilities to redefine the policy model on the fly based on, like, okay, I found that this particular agent is not using this particular task for not at all, but it is exposed to this task. So basically you can get that feedback mechanism to the original LLM, which is going to make a decision whether this agent can do this task or not. So it's like AI to contain AI. There is not any other way, probably in short or long term, to manage such kind of access, which is so dynamic.
Yeah, in the long run, I agree. You have to have the AI to manage the AI, and it's much faster also. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What about uh, what are other attack surface areas which you can envision apart from tools misuse?
Yeah, because the tool misuse, we just touch one stage, like discover. Then the second stage, when you actually use it, right? Then you have a prompt injection, direct or indirect, like you basically uh, yeah, and also like if you use the tool and the output coming back, you just trust the output from the server, MCP server, without like validated. So that is also attack surface, right? So basically we have a three stages: tool discovery, misuse, tool use, misuse in the use stage, like when you use it, did not validate prompt, right? And you did not validate the output. Then another is really the oversight of tool. Like you let tool just run wild without basically logging, right? Or have some basic way to find out what it does. So
Hmm.
this is actually two, yeah, a two use category. And then we have the access control violation, like you can kind of prompt engineer, prompt inject injected, and the research actually did find that certain model with agent is trying to, it should be in its own sandbox, a container, and then it's trying to access to the host. That happened, right? So
Yeah.
trying to escape, right? So that's more like access control violation. The second, and we do have the goal manipulation, like initial goal, like is to book the air ticket, but eventually it will maybe book something else for you, like maybe buy a GPU for you, which is good. I cannot get my GPU, but if it can, right? But anyway, you basically, there is a prompt injection technique called a crescendo attack. Microsoft actually have a very good research paper on that. The idea of a crescendo attack is using multiple turn, like it's direct, it's gradually like move you from the original goal to another goal, right? So it's basically you, the model don't know, like it's okay, the model itself is as much as possible to trying to help you. Friendly, it must be, unless there's a alignment kind of kick in, right? But you basically do it as so the alignment circuit, or eventually it's a circuit inside, there's a switch, right? If you are smart enough in the prompt that the switch is not turned on, then you can continue. And eventually, starting from buy a ticket for to buy a GTX, DGX, right, from NVIDIA, which is good. But if it's bad, like it will just do something else. I don't know what bad, right?
Yeah.
So,
Of course. So how do you so basically how do you threat model AI workloads?
oh yeah, so basically, I published a paper like early this year in Cloud Security Alliance called the Misuse framework. It has 7 layer. If you want, I can show the demo. I vibe
Please,
coded. Yeah,
please do that. I would love to see that.
yeah. Let me see. the vibe coding. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this is mixture.
What is Maestro?
Mixture is basically say multiple agent like threat modeling, uh, kind of a tool, right?
Is it you made it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm the
Okay.
inventor of this. So the basic idea is it says 7 layer. Like it's basically you can model your agentic AI system to see what kind of threat it is, right? It is a foundation model level, what kind of threat it could cause to my agentic AI system. In the data, like a RAG database, all this, what kind of threat. And if you're using the framework like MCP, A2A, or Clue AI, what kind of threat. And where you deploy could also right be
So
threat.
how do you do that? Let's say, let's go to foundational model.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what do you
So
do here?
yeah. So this is example here. Like this is a agent, financial research agent. It's help investors of co co functionality. It's using API. It also using the model, and then it's using a tool. All this right. So basically, my tool can generate like analyze using, of course, behind the scenes using Gemini tool. So it will generate, it find a three threat for you. And then let's see, it will, yeah, will, yeah, so identify the threat, it's here. So cross layer, I will explain this a little bit later, but as a most things malicious prompt injection that
How?
yeah, to basically give you like, is this a critical and the model drift and the performance degradation, maybe medium, and then the adversary fine tuning poisoning if you people kind of fine
But
tuning it, right?
can you see how? What, like, can you
Yes,
have more details?
yeah. So you can see it like a description here. And you can actually say, okay, this is not high, you can say it's low, right? Or you say, we fixed it, or you can just delete it. So
And
this is, yeah.
this agent, you created the definition of this agent through AI?
So no, yeah, that is through my document. So I vibe coded it with my document. So
Okay.
yeah, but some of this it's also from the AI as well, right? So like I don't think I give the definition of this, and it find it, and it's good. It's certainly it's one of the problem it will have in the
So
model,
have you
right?
given, so is it backed by, what kind of model this is backed by?
Yeah, Gemini. I using the Google. So Gemini 2.5 is the model behind the scene.
Gotcha. And then have you defined any threats on your own, or it's all Gemini figuring it out and dishing these threats to you?
Yeah, so in my document, I define some of basic threat, but it defined more, right? I did not define this one, for example. I, yeah, I did not, I do define the prompt injection, but I did not define this one. It defined for me, right? Like maybe if we look at this, right? It's the same. I will show you like ERP. I have another application that is ERP like application using MCP, Google A2A, and Clue AI like this architecture. I can show you like I pasted to it. It will find another other thread. But let's go through
So
this current step.
okay, so you are defining this architecture, and then
Yeah,
and this
you give the architecture description here, and it find all the thread for you. Yeah. So
wow.
that's powerful. Yeah, that's really good. Like, okay, let's see the data in the data, what it will do, right? Oh, sorry. It's, yeah, let me see it. So let's go to here. This is a full screen. So generate thread for the data. Let's see. So it will see it's a Pinecone because I using the Pinecone, right? In this, it says the Pinecone is a vector database, so you can kind of poisoning
Can
the
you,
vector database.
let's look at your architecture document. I want to go a little deep into it and see what it is. Then come back here.
So for this one, it's I just vibe coding it. It's there. I did
Okay.
not draw the architecture document. So
Got
this one, like I have a description of architecture. I could have draw it, but I don't have time. Just fiber coding yesterday. But you have like orchestration layer, you have the MCP based integration layer, and then you have agent to agent, right? And then
Okay.
it has the procurement workflow, right? So,
Mm.
so you start with the supply selection, which is a procurement agent. It talk to the risk database, whatever database, and it basically connect to the A2A for supply agent. So this maybe I should draw a sequence diagram there. But if you really want to see it in action, I can copy paste there, right? And say I replace this, and with that I generate it, so you can see it will change. So it's talking to the model when it was analyzed. See, it has the it find more. So it's thinking it's a two system. I need to change that, but it finds MCP data, right? And a two-way impersonation. That's what we have actually in our original definition. But like this one, audit login poisoning, that's the model find for you. And I know lots of bank actually, without using this tool, they using my model to for their red teaming. Like they first using my model to find the threat, and they using the threat to do the red teaming.
So is
That
this your model? Is it
sorry,
you're saying your model? Are
yeah.
you have
So
trained your model?
no, that, oh, sorry. My framework, not model.
Framework.
My
Okay.
Maestro framework. Yeah. Threat modeling framework. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not
And
changed my model yet.
yeah,
I
and
will in the future.
you basically coded it using vibe coding tools, and
Yeah,
basically this is using LLM to detect different kind of threats.
exactly. Yeah. So if you look at the deployment, let's see what kind of threat it will be in the deployment infrastructure. So it will have the agent impersonation, insecure secret management,
Wow.
insufficient. Yeah. So this is all it based on what I give it. You can give anything you want, right? If I
I can
give
give I can
this,
give my
yeah,
infrastructure as a code,
yeah.
which is
Tell
used
me
to,
just simple words. I can type it. We can generate a thread from there.
let's
You
say,
have,
okay, let's say I have a VPC where I have my model deployed, and it is connected to S3 via VPC endpoint policies. Oh, sorry, VPC gateways, which has VPC endpoint policies. And the S3 is containing the model training data, which is refreshed every day, and model is retrained on that data. Now, I also have an agent in my front end, which is a Streamlit app, which is basically connected with this model through APIs and serving my customers. Now,
mhm.
this bot is basically running in a public network exposed, and it is connected to LLM via API. I'm not sure if APIs from LLMs are secured or not.
Okay,
I don't.
let's
Let's
say
try that.
just give us this. Did you see? I just say this. VPC was a model deployed and connected to S3 via VPC gateway with policy. S3 contains model training data refreshed every day. Sorry. Uh, and data is refreshed every day. Agent app use Streamlit to connect to S3, and agent is public facing. Let's see at the deployment. Let's see first the deployment. It's additive, so we have to look at what is coming. Okay, so it's a so this means basically
More data.
the model is too busy for this. So we wait a little bit.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so let's see the evaluation. At the evaluation phase, currently it's only have this, right? Let's generate, hopefully it coming back. Oh, now it's coming back. See? So it say the observer data poisoning, matrix exploitation, sensitive data exposed via observability, because this one, but maybe I think it's this one, it's more S3. So let's do that, generic threat, that knows S3. So let's see if it's added to there. So it's added to this, right? S3 data breach. It has this, and then model training data poisoning, yeah. Credential exposure or streamlet. So it's a catch your architecture and it's trying to reason with it.
That sounds
Yeah.
so great. Now, you know
Yeah.
what else can happen? It is so cool. What I can do is I can create an application which will query your whole infrastructure
Hmm.
and fetch out how this infrastructure is built, like with the use of LLM. It will first understand whatever is in happening in your infra, where your model is, where your data is, where is your RAG is, how they are deployed, and then that report will come out, and then I feed into your system, and it will
Hmm.
suddenly give you, oh my god, that's the problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is powerful. People, some people already, most banks, I know at least three banks, they're using my framework. They told me, although I cannot really publicly
Is
say
it,
they use
have
it.
you put it on, is it your, it's public, or people are
Yeah, yeah,
exposed?
yeah. I make it this public in the GitHub. So, but I need to change it to. So currently, it's using the Gemini API. I try to make it like it's using any AI's API, and people just need to enter their API key. They can use it, right? Otherwise, it were using my my bill, right? I can make it a SaaS. So people have to pay for it. Then I'm okay with that.
That makes sense. Like it is such a, you know what can happen? It can like, it can be integrated into developers' IDEs. Like
Yeah,
do it right at the moment when you are building it, designing it. It's like with
yeah.
subscription.
Yeah, it's just one day of work. Like whatever idea you have, I can just add in, right? To add
Yeah.
more work there. See, it's like show you. So what I didn't show you is like it's basically have the diagram here, like for foundation model, what it defined, right? And it has a risk matrix. It's a reason, like so. Some is low impact, some medium, some are critical, right? So it will say some likelihood like it will do this for you. And maybe I go integrate with our AI VSS like a project, and so it can get the actual score there. So that's maybe next task. But for now, it will do the reasoning. Yeah, and you if you think it's not good, you can just delete it. So you delete it, it's good, right? Yeah. So yeah, and you can always look at like I can make it so it's easy to read. Right? That's also good as well. See, it's like in terms of MCP server service data exfiltration, it's basically tell me like responsible for connecting ERP
So
agent.
these are the threats. These are the threats you defined, or your model is fetching for you.
That's model. At this level, it's model. Like like in my document, in my framework, I don't say ERP agent. Because I give it EIP agent in previous, right? So it did not delete. So basically, if you have multiple systems, it's accumulate for you. That's maybe not desired. I maybe for each one, I should remove the previous one, then right, then have the new one. But for now, it's all additive. Like if you have you need anything else, you basically add here. It will add to your system. So yeah, let's see in the agent ecosystem what it will find. Stream application code injection leading to data template. Interesting. Yeah, so it will tell me the reasoning, right? Why it is. And if you don't agree with it, you can always you can update. So yeah, uh,
Cool. That's amazing. I like this.
yeah.
I,
Thank you.
I learned something
Yeah,
after seeing this.
Yeah, so let's say the key idea where I build this or where I have this framework is I used to do a lot of threat modeling, use Strata, Pasta, all this, right? And I try to using this for agentic AI, and I find this not sufficient because of autonomy, the identity, like ephemeral identity, the trust boundary, all this, like planning, right? And also the complexity in agent to agent communication. All this, because of all this reason, I think we need have the new threat modeling framework. That's all. Like in February this year, I published this paper, and people gradually start using it and comment it. Some people actually create a much nice picture on it. My picture is bad, so someone else, maybe I should save it, right? They create a much nice, but I always try to vibe coding it so people can actually use it. I just
I
don't have.
I really love the vibe coding. I'm getting so much out of it now.
Yeah. So,
And
so thanks because of you. Yesterday, I decided to vibe coding it. So
yeah,
that's yeah,
I have I'm just I just love it. I love working with AI. It
yeah,
is fascinating.
yeah. So this portion of you can just let people know they may be able to use it. It's free anyway for now, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it is like
maybe I can make a business out of it, but that
you should make
yeah,
it as a subscription based product.
right, yeah. Okay, I will do it.
You should do it. And it's like engineers can use it to learn, you know, feed
Yeah,
feed architectures and see what's going to happen, and you will learn about different attack surface areas. If you can if you can put
yeah.
some visuals here, that would be even great.
Oh yeah, yeah. Another maybe the next iterations where I will allow people copy paste a diagram there, right?
Yeah, that
And
would
then
be.
yeah,
I would love to see a tool which can create me architectural diagrams
hmm
and then take those diagrams and thread model it,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, or you can like I should allow it to upload a document, and then it will create the architecture diagram from this document, and then analyze. That I can do, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
certainly. Yeah. So maybe using D3JS. Yeah, I don't know what kind of framework it should use. Yeah. So you should be able to upload a PDF file. It will try to look at if you have a diagram. If it is, it will using diagram to do threat modeling. If not, it will show you the diagram and do the threat modeling. That's maybe my next task if I have time.
yeah. I think the red teaming and pen testing, chatbots and agentic frameworks
Mhm.
is amazing thing. I think I would love to create something which is doing this.
Yeah. I think that's why I think the full framework that's really important for agentic AI is one is NIST AI risk management framework. It's basically it's voluntary, but it's really a good guidance in terms of you have to manage, map, measure, and govern right your risk. And then we have threat modeling, Maestro, to map the threat, and then we have the AIVSS through the OWASP. We have many people, a founding member, right? And to measure it, and eventually we need a platform to govern and manage it. That's what I'm trying to vibe coding it, right? And the red teaming as well. So, so this should be a very minimum, bare minimum, like for you to build a secure agentic AI application. You can go above or beyond that, but this is the bare minimum. You have to do threat modeling. You have to basically measure the risk. You have to do the red teaming, and you have to somehow manage in a platform. Say it's through the red teaming, we have not found this particular threat, and you can just manage. So you delete, you can comment.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Prevention and detection both at the same time.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
This,
It's
this, this is great. This is great. I think we should do more of it.
sure.
Maybe
Yeah, yeah. Let's target for it, and maybe every day has one topic, or not every day, every week.
every week one topic. I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
let's plan 5 weeks and we will bring one by one. We will deep dive
Sure,
and talk something.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Then I think we
I'm
will.
starting busy next month, so I think it's okay. I teach a course like cybersecurity, generative AI, agentic AI for data security at the University of San Francisco. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm.
starting August 21st. So
That's awesome. I'm also want to start my boot camp in August end. So maybe I can have you invite you as my guest
sure, yeah,
once in a
yeah,
while.
yeah. You can be also as a my guest to speak. Like you can
I
talk for
would
1 hour,
love that.
2 hour.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe let's sync it up. Like you basically have topic like more like a generative AI for cloud security or something like how to
Yes.
manage S3 or all this, right?
Yes.
All this. So this as a topic, that's fine. I can. I do have like a do not have a lot of slot, but I certainly can give you maximum 2 hours slot.
Sounds good. Thank
Yeah.
you. I think I will plan that. And now I know you better. You know me a little better, probably. And we can have more specific topics and we will deep dive.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. It's a good discussion, certainly.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Thank,
I enjoy it. So you ask good questions. So
thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
I need the people asking me questions, then I have.
Yes, I
So
will
which
bring I will bring better questions next time.
yeah, we can brainstorming even I don't have the answer, right? So any question is okay.
But I like the vibe coding and building stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
next week we will have something else.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We can talk about the Viber coding if need. Yeah,
Yeah.
what it is, when how it will develop, like what do you see, right?
Yeah.
That could be a topic. Yeah.
All right. All right, then we'll stop this here and we will reconvene next sometime next month.
Great. Great.
All right then. Thank you.